Welcome to the Intern Whisperer Live, the show all about internships and how to survive them. This is Val.
This is Isabella.
And this is Jerron. On our show tonight is Brad Post, an entrepreneur and owner of Create the Movement, a digital marketing agency in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can find him at createthemovement.com.
Also coming up in this episode of the Intern Whisperer Live, we'll be talking about great leaders, internships, entrepreneurships, and the coolest innovation in your business industries.
So how can people find us? Oh, we have so many ways. You can find us on Pivot, Business Consulting's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram pages. You can find us on Intern Pursuit, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and Instagram. And then on our Intern Pursuit game for Facebook and Twitter. And then you can listen to us live on the mixlr.com/Valencia College Radio. And please follow us on Intern Pursuit. You'll get the notifications when our show is going live, and you can watch us live on our Facebook Intern Pursuit page right now.
But before we start the show, we want to talk about our first sponsor, Florida Patient Association, whose mission is to bring support and services to patients in the state of Florida. If you have not received the help and support you need from an injury in the healthcare industry, contact Florida Patient Association for guidance on your rights. Thank you, Florida Patient Association, for sponsoring the Intern Whisperer Live.
So tonight we have our employer guest is Brad Post. And I met Brad. We're going to share that story on the show, but he's a great guy. He owns a show, a company, not a show, but he has a podcast. We'll talk about that too. He owns a business in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it is Create the Movement. So we'll get to hear about his company. We'll get to hear about his podcast and all kinds of good stuff. So, Brad, how long have we known each other? You know, I was like thinking back and trying to figure that out, and I have an idea, but I was wondering, like, it's been what, a good 3 years?
You know, I think it's maybe 4. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited, by the way. This is fun. Yeah, I was really thinking, so we got connected through 1 Million Cups, right?
Right. And that was really
so
kind of funny because didn't I don't know how, but I think I saw that you were with 1 Million Cups, and I started liking and connecting with everybody on LinkedIn and following the 1 Million Cups. And were you in 1 Million Cups 4 years ago?
Well, yeah, it was actually 2013, 2014 is when we brought it to Tulsa. I was part of the team, the co-organizing team that launched the 1 Million Cups here in Tulsa. Yeah, we went up to the Kauffman Center in Kansas City, and kind of our favorite group of people that were there were Orlando. And so I think you came in maybe shortly after that, and we connected somehow through the 1 Million Cups organization. Mm-hmm. Is that right? I think you became a co-organizer in Orlando.
1 Million Cups a year before me, and I had noticed you, and I said, "Oh," I looked at you on LinkedIn and went, "Well, this is good. I should connect with you." And we had a number of synergies where I think that we intersected. Funny thing is, guys, we've never met in person.
Oh. That's right.
So,
I know.
Just so you know.
Yes.
Always over Skype.
That's how the best friendships are made.
Yeah.
That's right. Right.
And I was getting ready to go to the 1 Million Cups Summit. And just so people know what 1 Million Cups is, Brad, you want to share with them what 1 Million Cups is for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City actually started an entrepreneur program, and they wanted to connect entrepreneurs together. And so their thought was they started this in Kansas City, and they would have usually 2 startup companies. They had specific parameters around them. It had to be a company within 3 years, and they had to be able to scale. And
a new innovation to the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they would present a 7-minute presentation of their business, and then we'd have 20 minutes of questions and answers from the community. So Kansas City blew up to where they were having 400 or 500 people, and they started looking at different cities to put it in. And gosh, I'm not sure how many cities it's in now, but probably more than 60 or 70. um, cities. And yeah, once a month, or actually once a week, we would meet and have 2 startup companies present. And then the whole point of the presentation was, our last question to that company was, how can we, the community of Tulsa or Orlando or Kansas City, help you in your business? And then each one of those presenters would be kind of staged to answer that question. So whether it was they were looking for funding, or whether they were looking for
social love,
yeah, somebody to build their website or something like that, or somebody to help with marketing or whatnot. So, or somebody to help with interns, right?
Yeah.
Isabella, yeah. So, yeah, so it was really fun. I dedicated a little bit over a year of my life to it, and just loved it. And it's still going here in Tulsa now. So.
Yep, and I did the same. I was a organizer for 1 Million Cups here in Orlando, and I did it for a little over a year. But I love the organization, and it's still going strong here in Orlando also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
super cool. So Create the Movement. Let's talk about that. How did you decide on that name, Create the Movement? And you're an entrepreneur, so if you want to share your startup journey or to where you are now, feel free. But we definitely want to be able to focus on what your services are and what you provide as the value to your clients.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So Create the Movement was actually a vision that I had probably, oh gosh, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And so I didn't really know what it was going to be yet, or what it was. At the time, I was working in full-time ministry, or in the nonprofit sector. And so I just launched a site and just started blogging, and just started sharing blogs of posts that I had written. And then and this was actually in Atlanta. So I lived in Atlanta, and then just felt a calling to move back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where all my family is, and everyone I'd grown up with. And I'm married and have 3 kids, and so we have a lot of family around here. So we moved back to Tulsa, and I got connected to a marketing company here, and started working with this marketing company, and it just really kind of helped grow their staff from 3 to 14 employees within a year. Really grew their income, and just kind of had a difference in vision of where the company was going. So I had an investor approach me and say, do you think you could start your own marketing company? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so at the time, I'm more of a sales guy, strategy, project management, communication. I can't really. I'm not a developer. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't. I've got a. I always joke around with people because I'm like, yeah, we've got an online marketing company that builds websites, and I can't even build a website. So, and I'm the president of the company. So, we started the company, and I had a co-founder at the time that was on the technical side, so he could actually build logo designs and build websites, and was really good at it. And we were kind of going back and forth on what the company name should be. And then I just threw it out there, and I was like, well, I've got this domain that I used, about a year ago, and I just haven't done anything with it. And it's called Create the Movement. And he was just like, that's it. That's the name of the company. And I was like, well, good, because I actually own createthemovement.com. And so in June of 2013, with 0 clients, we launched our company. I actually officed out of my my father-in-law's barn. And so we started in a barn in South Tulsa County. And when I say barn, it was, it was nice. It had stained concrete. It had, we had a desk in there. It had a non-working bathroom. So we had to actually walk outside to use the restroom. at first, and
That's
which
awful.
was
That's
which
just
was
awful.
kind of, yeah, it was funny. It was kind of awkward too, because if we had to go up to the house, and if anyone was there, they kind of knew, oh, you got to use the restroom. Okay, well, you couldn't just go out back, so we kind of know what you need to use the restroom for. So, but yeah, we started in 2013, and yeah, we're approaching our 5-year mark here. Here in probably 2 days. So,
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and hitting a 5-year mark for a company is a really big deal, as we all know.
Yes, we've gone through a lot of growing pains and joys. And do you mind if I kind of jump into those now, Isabella?
Oh yeah,
Oh, feel
go
free,
ahead,
please.
share.
I guess, guys. So yeah, we started out of a barn, and my co-founder was in actually Oklahoma City, which is about an hour and a half away from us. Probably the same distance as Orlando is to maybe Tampa.
Yeah.
So I would go to Oklahoma City, probably every other week and connect with him. And finally, we were able to get one of my clients. So when we started growing, we started getting a lot of attorney clients, because that was kind of my niche market that I knew. I just knew a lot of attorneys. And so we started doing marketing for attorneys. And we had an attorney downtown Tulsa that had an office. And when I say office, I mean a closet. It was a 10 by 10 room with no outside windows. It was literally a closet. And he was like, well, we'll rent it to you guys, for just a very minimal cost. And so I thought I had made it big. I was like, man, we finally got an office in downtown Tulsa. We're huge. And so, I had a desk in there, and then we actually ended up having 3 desks in there, 3 people working in there at the same time, which got pretty crowded. Ended up parting ways with our co-founder in Oklahoma City. Just things weren't really working the way I'd envisioned them. So we had not necessarily a falling out, but just a separation of our path. I'm still friends with him today, and we still have a good relationship. But just kind of had a difference of vision on where we were going. So we had this closet, and then across the hallway was a bigger office, and that was kind of my vision, to get a bigger office. And so we were downtown Tulsa for probably 3 years, maybe a little bit more. And we ended up growing our company to close to 14 employees. So we had actually grown out of our closet. We came out of our closet into a bigger office, and then expanded into a bigger office. And so my wife and I, my wife is our chief financial officer, chief business officer. We realized that we'd grown this company to 14 employees. We still had a lot of like HR issues and just kind of drama in the office. And we were, leaving at 7 a.m. and getting home at 7 p.m, 5 days a week, and again, I mentioned earlier, I have 3 kids. So, our kids were like, where are you guys at? Why aren't you home? And so we just kind of realized that we had built a company that wasn't necessarily our vision. So, we were, staying late and just, stressed all the time. So about a year ago, we started going to work remote. So rather than working in a barn, we made an office in my home, and we kind of did a slow model of working from home, meaning everyone would work from home on Fridays, and then the next month everyone would work from home on Tuesdays and Fridays, and the next month it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we tested it with the employees, and organically, some of the employees, it worked for them, and some of it didn't. So we ended up kind of scaling back a little bit on employees, which in turn helped for, our stress and the drama that we had to deal with and whatnot. So, we, yeah, we have 9 employees now. We have a lot of people that work outsource with us, and we're fully remote, all of us. So,
There's a
that's-
company that works in Starter Studio where I work out of, and they got together last weekend or last week, and they all work remote. And honest to goodness, there was about, I want to say, 35 of them. And when they all came in, and I was looking at the guy that I always see him sitting in his office by himself, I go, I had no idea. He said, yeah, this is how big we are, and we all work remotely, and we get together like once a month just to, see faces and things like that. And I went, that's amazing. And they were the happiest group of people, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Are you still using the half remote type system where you're doing a couple days a week remote and a couple days a week in office? Or are you totally remote now?
No, we're totally remote. Yeah. So I believe it was August of last year. Yeah, we were fully remote. So I went from wearing nice clothes to office every day to wearing flip flops and shorts. So
A whole lot more
comfortable.
convenient.
Yeah.
right. So, and I'm able to take my son to school every day and see my kids when they come home for school, and still just get a lot more work done. Our commute was probably an hour each day from to and from the office, and so that added 2 more hours onto our day. So we did go through some growing pains as far as communication with employees, and people not being on time for meetings and stuff like that. So
Right.
it took a little bit of tweaking, but it worked overall. So we've been doing it for about a year.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned from owning your own company?
Biggest lesson, I would say, is really no one's going to love the company as much as you do, but as long as you continue to cast vision on what you're doing and where you're going, then you can get a great team behind you that can do amazing things.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Do you have any advice for people who are looking to increase their ability to explain their vision and become a more clear and concise company, basically? Do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say really just it helps to own your vision. So if you know what you're doing and what you want, if you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want. So just be willing to make sure you know what you don't want, and then expand on the things that you do want. So there's a great book out there called Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
Yep.
And that'd be a good book to read as far as finding out, your why on what you do. So definitely just with any business owner, I would encourage them to just continue to feed yourselves by reading books and just really knowing your vision, but know what you won't do and then what you will do.
Mm-hmm.
If that answers the question.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you.
Yep. And it's definitely, you're right that nobody will love it as much as you, because people will say to me, oh my God, you don't have a life, like this is all you do. I said, this is what I love. But it's also for a season. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way, because as you well know, you were putting in all of these hours, and I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that side of the equation. But it's always nice to know that you're working towards something that you can own and grow. I don't see my business as a baby. People say, oh, this is your baby. I go, no, it's not. It's not a person. It's a business. And the goal is to be able to grow it and get it to a certain place to either, continue to have it thrive and grow and run without me having to be there, or scale it and sell it,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, so what kind of services do you do? I know you touched on some of it, but tell us what Create the Movement does.
Yeah. Well, a lot of what we do is really, we consider ourselves an online marketing company. So a lot of what we do is search engine optimization and getting small businesses to show up in search engines for what people are looking for. So, like I said, we work with a lot of attorneys. We also work with like roofing companies, quite a few roofing companies. So, but part of online marketing includes, web design, pay-per-click campaigns, social media, video production, logos, and branding. And so, the good thing is I've built a pretty solid team around me that can do all of those things, such as build an awesome website that shows up well in search engines. They know kind of the tricks of search engine optimization and how to get a website to show up well in Google search by, doing the right things and the what I call the things that Google enjoys seeing, not the scary things that get your website blacklisted from Google. We do quite a bit of social media campaigns for clients, which I like doing. But honestly, I really, part of my job is just client relations, and I just love connecting with our clients and looking at the reports on how we're doing for them and setting up strategies to improve on certain marketing campaigns that help them to show up online.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what we do. We help companies create a movement online by increasing their business.
That's super cool. I like your logo too. And I will tell you that SEO optimization, they don't teach that in school.
No.
I've not encountered a school that teaches it. I don't know. Maybe they teach it at Full Sail. That I do not know. But so far, the schools that I've worked with, I haven't found that. And usually it takes a lot of knowledge to be able to make that magic happen where the website is, it's really driving traffic. So kudos to you, because you just say those words, SEO, and people go, oh my God, what is that? What does that really mean? And you can tell them the words, but they still go, I don't know, what is that really doing?
Yeah, quick note. I actually got to teach an SEO class at Victory Bible College this past semester.
No way! Congrats.
You guys don't have to call me Professor Post.
Ooh.
But that sounds pretty cool, so we might.
Yeah, Professor Post. Yeah. Oh yeah, that has
Professor
a nice
Post.
ring to it.
No, but yeah, actually, that was what it was, a media part of their business. They're teaching media, and they needed somebody to teach, online marketing and SEO. So I had a 8-week course at a Victory Bible College and was able to teach there. But yeah, it's definitely such an in-depth thing that it's hard to teach even in a class.
Yeah, you don't teach that like it just doesn't happen.
How did you begin your learning experience with it? Like, what was the start that brought you into learning about search engine optimization?
That's a great question. Yeah, actually, when we first moved back to Tulsa and I got with that marketing company, that's kind of what we were doing. Is we were, selling. I was selling services to highly educated people. And when I first got into the business, I joke around, but I was like, I didn't even know how to spell SEO when I first started. I was like, SEO, what is that? And so, I was kind of the head salesman to sell search engine optimization to highly educated people. So I kind of put myself in a crash course on learning it. And I even worked on building my own website and getting it to show up for certain keywords that I wanted it to show up for. And so that kind of really helped me to understand it and learn it. But yeah, I was having to read books. I was reading blogs every day to learn what it was so I could sell it. So I put myself on a crash course on learning that business in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and then there's SEM.
Yeah, we consider that search engine marketing. Um, and I kind of look at that as also like paid advertising, pay-per-click campaigns. Google AdWords is one thing that we do a lot of, and that's where somebody pays to show up at the top of search engines, usually Google. And if you click on their specific ad, then it'll charge them depending on how much the keyword costs, what that is. So, yeah, that's a lot of what we do. So it's fun stuff. We enjoy it for sure.
It definitely is. So, you do SEO, SEM, social media, video production, paid advertising. That's so much. That is just like so much. It's overwhelming. And that's a really good set of services to be able to provide to clients. But I think it's interesting that you have law firms and then you have construction companies.
Yeah.
One is very
totally
professional and like white collar, and then the other is the one in the T-shirts. So it's just interesting. There's like
advertising.
Yeah. Construction, is it because of like we're in hurricane season? So is it for that reason? Why so many construction companies? I did not know there was that much building going on in Tulsa.
Yeah. No, I mean, so we're actually a national company. So we have clients from Alaska to Florida to, up in I think New York down to California. So we've got clients in, I think it's 27 different states right now. So
wow.
So yeah, we try to and the reason I got into construction was just, I don't know, I know how to talk to attorneys, and I also do a good job at talking to the normal blue collar construction guys. So I've kind of had a wide range of experiences in my life to where I feel like I can communicate on different levels.
And speaking of experiences, I don't know if we asked earlier, but where did you go to school, and if so, where did you major?
Yeah, actually, I went to Central Christian College, and it's kind of a long, kind of a short, a funny story. But I always tell people I managed to fit my 4-year degree into 15 years because it took me that long to finish my degree. I got married at a pretty young age. I think we were 21, and I had my daughter, I think like 11 months after I got married. And so I had to grow up really quickly. So my college had to kind of go by the wayside, and I started working in the corporate world and moving up in the corporate world. And so when I was working in the nonprofit sector, I really enjoyed just learning about, the different types of spiritual platforms and studying and reading the Bible. And so I actually got my degree in leadership and organizational management at Central Christian. It was all basically online. So after 15 years, I actually finished my 4-year degree. It took me
Well,
a little bit
it's
longer than
not
most people.
about when it was you finished, and that's really great. I'm sure you're stressing that your own kids that you may want them to go to college too.
Yeah, actually, my daughter, who's 20 now, she just turned 20 last week.
No way.
Yeah, she is. She's going to beauty college, so she's going to be a cosmetologist. So she really enjoys that. My middle son, who's going to be, or he is a senior in high school now, he really wants to go to college, and so he's starting to look for what colleges to go to. He really likes the animation area, and he's in Tulsa Tech taking a animation course right now through school, and so he's looking at colleges to go to after that. And my youngest one's 11, and we're just trying to get him through elementary school right now. So we'll talk,
That's
talk
pretty
about
cool.
college.
That's interesting. You have like such a vast difference there.
Yes.
College, 20, and then 11.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was interesting. But so now you're over here. You finished college, and now you can relate to your students in a whole different way. since you're on the teaching side of it. I think that's pretty cool because
Yeah.
you may encounter people that go to school at night, the non-traditional learners, that have day jobs, and they'll really be able to relate to your story.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps. Helps for sure.
So
Yeah.
you are part of my Intern Whisperer Employer Club, so to speak. I guess I should make a little group for that, a Facebook group. And I was testing out the ability to do remote training with you at the time, and then also helping to manage a student remotely, because I was wanting to see, okay, now how is this going to work for remote internships? And then I also wanted to see how it was going to work with just the training side. And I've refined my processes much better. So, that's something that I got out of it. But what did you get out of the training that I gave you, or working with the student and having her in there? Because I remember us having a conversation, and you said you hadn't had a lot of luck working with interns, and you felt that was helpful, which I'm giving my own plug, to be perfectly clear. But I really appreciated you sharing that with me. But how was it any different, or why was it different?
Well, yeah, I'm really kind of excited to talk about this because, one thing that before Isabella, before you and I connected, I always wanted to have interns, but I never knew like a process to go out and get them. And what really surprised me about working with you is the amount of, I would say, quality candidates that we got. I think in the amount, and as quickly as you connected with some of our universities around here, I think you connected with Oklahoma State University, Tulsa University,
Oral Roberts.
Oklahoma University, Oral Roberts, yeah. And it was just amazing. Like I couldn't really get my foot in the door with those people. I didn't try that hard, but it was just amazing how quickly you got your foot in the door. So I was impressed with your processes to be able to, even list an intern position at our company. And mind you guys, it was non-paid internship. So, I know there's companies out there that do paid, but we were still really new. So I was amazed with just the quality candidates that we got, and then the process that you took them through. With you would kind of basically vet them, right, Isabella, before you would even send them to me. And so you would kind of send me some of the top candidates that you got, correct?
That is true. That is true. Because I was giving assessments, and I still do, to make sure that I'm finding somebody that would be a good match. But it's also part of the process is understanding what the culture is and what the employer's wanting. This is exciting on my side. I am finishing my certification in Estimate, and it is a personality assessment tool that's out of Denmark with Slater Consult. And part of the reason why I wanted that certification is it helps to, they have a number of interesting facets. It's an 8-faceted assessment. And one of them is innovation, which is really key for any business owner, but especially entrepreneurs. And there's a grit score that, your tenacity, your persistence. And I was wanting that particular opportunity to facilitate that as a training program for leadership, but also in team communications. And so it's going to be part of the Intern Pursuit software program, so that it's being able to help in the certainly in remote working conditions with your team, but also when working with interns remotely. So that's something that's a plus there. But you're right, it was really being able to share what students look for and what your responsibility was on the employer side when you're asking somebody to be in an unpaid internship.
Yeah, and it's really kind of taught me a lot to just know that what to ask for, what to look for in an intern. I think at first I was just like, okay, so you're willing to work for me for 10 or 20 hours a week without me paying you, and the actual intern's excited about it. And then now that I'm on the other side of it, I've had several interns that have put me down as a reference. They've put me down, put us down on their resume or on their LinkedIn page, asked for a LinkedIn recommendation. And now I can kind of see that, okay, well, they gained some experience. I've got one girl that worked with us, and she actually moved to Panama, and she is working at a full-time marketing agency doing social media. And she said the reason that she got that job was because the intern, position that she had with us over the summer. So,
that's amazing. That's
yeah.
wonderful.
I've had one that didn't want to go into marketing at all after ours.
Right, you
but
had
it was
to.
a good experience for her, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's really valuable because it's just as important to know what you don't want to do, right?
Right.
So you don't
right.
have to spend that time in courses and in a career path that's not what you want to do. Because I usually will tell people is I spent 2 years as a financial analyst, and I realized I'm not that.
You realize you're not a financial analyst.
I am not. I loved everything else about the job, but not that side of it, just because the numbers were not my thing.
Right.
That I just didn't like sitting and doing numbers.
I'd say one thing, I wanted to mention too about working with interns is, when I first started, I was just like, okay, this young adult is coming in working, for me for 20 hours a week. I'm not paying them. And so the first probably few I had, I'm a very on-time person. So I'm very punctual. And so punctuality is very important to me. And so, I had one intern that was showing up late, every day. And this, probably a week went past. And I was like, well, she's, I'm not necessarily paying her, so I can't really hold her accountable or fire her. But I ended up pulling her into my office and just explaining to her, hey, listen, part of this intern program is that, you're punctual and that you're on time, and I need you to be on time. And she later told me that no one had ever really expressed that to her. She was probably 21, and no one had ever really expressed to her. Maybe it was the culture that she grew up in or who she was with, but nobody had ever told her, hey, it's important to be on time to your job. And
it really is, and that's your mentoring that you were giving her. That's wonderful, because that is even, I know that there's a perception that, or, a thinking that money is the only way that people are compensated, but what people want more, sometimes way more than money, is going to be a tangible job experience and somebody that is actually helping them and showing that they're investing in them, because we have to invest in interns, that's for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she ended up asking me, hey, what are some books I could read, because she saw that I was always, reading books and recommending books. And so, she was like, what podcasts can I listen to? And yeah, just the whole mentoring someone is very valuable, even, almost sometimes more valuable than money itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well, I know I've been asking a lot of questions. I'm going to let the guys ask.
Okay.
You guys do some of the conversation here.
Yeah, we were just on the topic of podcasts, and I believe we talked earlier about you have your own podcast, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it was about 2 years ago, we decided to launch a podcast. And, I was working with a lot of creative guys that wanted to make it, awesome. And so we had all these amazing ideas, and we wanted to make it like, there's some of them out there that are just masterfully made, like, like Startup, and you have Gimlet Media's podcasts. They're just off the charts awesome. And and so we started listening to those and trying to have ideas to do that. But we were just like, I'm the type of guy that wants to push through something to get it out there rather than making it perfect and spending, 40 to 80 hours and mastering a one 15-minute episode. And so I said, you know what, let's just start recording podcasts via Skype, or their interviews. We can ask 6 or 7 questions and let's just get it out there. And so I think we're on our, we probably do 2 a month. And, I just started interviewing. We first started out specific topics with our employees. And then I just started interviewing people. Isabella was a guest on our show, right, Isabella?
Yeah.
And I kind of made it like the 1 million cups mentality is, I'm all about collaboration and not necessarily competition. And so I may have one of my friends that's a web designer on our show, and give him a shout out, put his link to his website on our website. If you guys want to hire him to do a website, or if you want to hire this guy to do SEO. It was all about collaborating and just sharing information. And I really feel like that's just a life-giving mindset to go with. I think, Isabella, we pushed your intern program and shared different links and the different things that you were working on. But yeah, it's really for small business people that want to learn more about marketing. And I go and interview experts in the field based on different subjects. It's usually marketing related, but we've done the intern one, we've done leadership ones, we've done coaching style ones. So that's kind of where it started.
And what was the name of the podcast again?
Sorry, I just got too excited. I didn't even tell you the name of the podcast.
Just so our listeners know where to find you as well.
Okay, yeah, it's actually Create the Movement podcast.
Can you find that on your website?
Well, yeah, you in the blog section of createthemovement.com, it'll have our podcast listed. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Audio Boom. So you can look up Create the Movement podcast.
All right, thank you. And of course, we're ending the near of our show with you. So one of the last questions we did want to ask you is about great leaders. So could you name someone who's affected your life in a positive way?
Can be more
I'm
than
glad
one
we
person,
got
right?
to this question. I really am, because just to kind of share a story about 3 years ago, there's a guy who lives in my local town, Tulsa, Oklahoma. His name is Jim Stovall. Jim Stovall has written over 40 books. He is one of his books, called The Ultimate Gift, was made into a major motion picture.
I've seen that. That's a good movie too.
And I think 5 of his 40 books have been made into movies. And he's actually he's a business owner, and he's blind. He started losing his sight in his 20s, and I emailed him just to meet with him, just to see, if I could meet with him. My mom has a connection to his parents because she works in a retirement community, and so I just asked to meet with him. And I met with him, and the first time I met with him, kind of had his arms crossed, not necessarily arms crossed, but just kind of like, who is this young kid that wants to meet with me? He's very much, a very wealthy man. And after he found out who I was and that I was connected to his mom, he just kind of opened up his arms. And I think I walked out of his office with 4 different books of his.
Oh, wow.
Just handed me, books. And he was like, hey, he kept asking Beth, can you bring me another book? And so I read those 4 books and went back to him and had questions. And he gave me 2 more books. And so I read those and went back to him and had questions. And then I was just kind of like, part of his story was he had a mentor in his life that helped him to get to where he is today. And so I just asked him, I said, would you be willing to mentor me? And he was like, absolutely. And he always takes my calls, always returns my emails within probably a few hours. I meet with him in person once a month. He's helped me through a lot. When I first started meeting with him, I tell him, it's I couldn't, probably couldn't even afford to buy him dinner. And then about 6 months ago, I was able to take him and his wife and my wife to dinner at a very nice restaurant and pay for it. So it's just, it's been really helpful to have him in my life. His name is, again, Jim Stovall. Yeah, just a great mentor in my life.
Yeah, I like that movie too. I haven't read the book, but the movie was really good.
Yeah, and he's probably publishing 4 books this year. One of them that came out, The Art of Optimism, which was his most recent book. But he listens to books, and he's read more books than anyone I've ever known. He listens to 1 book a day. So 365 books a year. He listens to them, of course, audio, and has them on like 10 times speed, like listens to them super fast. But yeah, he goes through 1 book a day. And he's just been a great role model in my life.
That's cool. That's really cool. Do we have time for the innovation question?
We do not.
Oh.
We do not.
We didn't do our
Right.
partner shout out, did we? The second
But
one?
we still have time.
Okay.
But before we do that, I want to say thank you for being one of our guests tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. This has been really, really fun and exciting.
Glad you enjoyed it. And for our second sponsor of the night, it is Affiliate Manager. Affiliate Manager offers a complete management service that covers all aspects of developing and optimizing an affiliate program from top to bottom. Not only do we provide expertise, identify high potential opportunities, and execute campaigns to maximize performance, we make it a point to require minimal work for our merchant partners. You can reach them at affiliatemanager.com. Thank you, Affiliate Manager, for sponsoring the Intern Whisperer Live.
That's new music by Sophie Lloyd, our sound engineer with Intern Pursuit Game.
Thank you, Sophie.
But of course, before we end the show, does Isabella want to talk about something really important?
Oh, yes. I need people to complete our surveys. I am a part of UCF's I-Core program, and the goal is to have 100 employers and 100 student surveys by tomorrow. And the count is, so far I have 48 students that have completed surveys and 27 employers. So if you are an employer that has ever worked with interns or wants to work with interns, you can find our survey on our internpursuit.com on our Facebook page, Intern Pursuit Facebook. And you can also find it on Pivot Business Consulting's Facebook page. And the same is for students. So please, please, please complete our survey. If you were a student that did an internship, then I need your help also. And I think that pretty much wraps up my messages there.
Do we have any shout outs for tonight that anyone would like to give?
Oh, yeah. I want to give a shout out to, as always, to my 2 spectacular co-hosts here.
Thank you. And a shout out
associate
to our
producer.
boss as well, Isabella.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I love you guys being here. And you make it so easy for me.
You make it so much fun.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to our followers. I'm so happy. So we have Aunt Cindy, right?
Cynthia.
Aunt Cynthia.
Yeah.
And then Diana. Hi, Diana. And then Jimmy.
Thomas, my brother.
That is your brother.
Yeah, my whole family's just joining in.
Awesome. This is so exciting. It's becoming a family thing here. I love that. And I want to give a special shout out to Gonzalo and Hubert and Joe and a new intern that's just joined us on the software team. Her name is Lisette. And then all of my other marketing people. Oh my gosh, there's like 10 of them. I can't list them all. But I'm going to have to give a shout out to them all. Katrina and Jeff and Sarah, and just make sure that they all know that they're loved, and I appreciate them. Along with our new client. We're going to have a new client on Friday that's coming in that I'm going to be writing a business plan. So current clients, past clients, we love you all. And I think that's it from my side.
Any shout outs for you, Brad?
I would have to say you guys. Yeah. Thanks for letting me be on the show. Yeah, I'm just glad to be a part of it.
All right, we hope to have you soon again.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us.
Any shouts for you, Val?
Just to my parents, if you're listening, I think that they are, but thank you so much for listening. Again, thanks to Brad for joining us today, and thank you, Isabel, for letting us produce the show.
So, Jerron, your turn.
Oh, well, shout outs to my family for helping grow this business
Yes.
because they seem to be our biggest supporters.
They are your posse. I'm going to tell you,
Oh.
they are the posse. Where is Aunt Darlene?
I mean, maybe she was busy, but my brother came in to
I
fill
know
in for her,
this
so
is awesome.
I'll take it.
He's there too. I was going, okay. I figured that was a family tie there for you.
All right. So we'd like to end the show just how we started it. I'm missing something.
Oh, no, you're right.
Oh, okay.
Go
You're
ahead.
looking at me
You're
like
on
I did
point.
something wrong. Like, what did I do?
No.
So this has been Val.
This has been Jerron.
This is Isabella. And we're pointing to you, Brad. You're supposed to say, this is Brad.
This is Brad.
Awesome.
All right.
And thank you for listening to the Intern Whisperer Live.